Introduction wise, I am Andre Lebone as an artist. I'm a New
Mhm.
Orleans creative. 19 years old now. Uh, I don't know. I mean, to introduce myself, that's like
Yeah.
you can always say a lot or you can only say a little.
Right, right.
Um, I guess the best that I can say about myself is I consider myself to just now being a professional artist.
Mhm.
I know like ever since I was in second grade, I was visually talented, but still about now is like where I've actually had like a lot of like personal life experiences that have led me to want to be a professional artist and have like a story to tell and
Mhm.
to like be that specific person that ideally represents what an artist is, and not only an artist but also like a visionary and a conceptual person, somebody that can see other people's visions but
Yeah.
also greatly express their own visions.
Oh. I'm interrupting this interview because while I think Andre does a good job introducing himself, I think he misses out on some things that he's done that I just find really impressive, especially at the stage of his career that he's at. Andre Lebone is a multidisciplinary artist who is a painter, glass sculptor, all around creative, film director, film actor, and model. He has worked with Sing for Hope pianos, taken part in Colin Kaepernick's Know Your Rights camp, and has created murals alongside B. Mike. This interview took place in the early part of 2024, so the list has only grown as far as what Andre has done, and I hope that you continue to follow him further into his career post this interview. Enjoy the rest of the interview. Thank you. Yeah, but I think that was a really good intro.
I try.
Uh, I I want I do want to ask about because
Mm.
I know you're really getting into glasswork lately.
Hmm.
Where did you find an interest in that specifically, as well as what did you find your original interest in art in general? I guess.
Um, Interest in glasswork. I can totally say. I think my interest in glasswork follows along with how I represent myself as an artist now, or
Mm-hmm.
how I feel like my story as becoming a professional artist came to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because but I was very thankful for the opportunity to learn that stuff because I learned how to make glass through blast furnace. I learned how to make glass on torches.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of other stuff that I already knew at Noka, but there was also metal sculpting that I
Mm-hmm.
learned, and so it was just like introducing me to these new mediums that I had never even like really imagined me like being a part of
Yeah.
or ever like putting my hands on, but they had sort of like influenced me in this idea of like I don't want to be afraid of not learning anything.
Mm-hmm. This next piece is called Things Left Unsaid.
Imprecise words.
Valentino Summers and wave runners. Chains on my niggas like slave runners. Drug dealers anonymous. How many Madonnas can that Mazda fit? My brick talk is more than obvious. It's ominous. Garage is the phantom. Ghouls, ghosts, and goblins. Blonde mohawk, the collection. I'm Dennis Rodman. The money count is the only moment of silence. Cause hush money balances all this drugs and violence. Hat trick under my mattress. Date I stop still has an asterisk after it. After all, I can make a call. I can baptize a brick as I wash away my sins like a Catholic. Who the fucking master this? America's nightmares in Flint. Children of a lesser God when your melanin's got a tint. And I can't even mention what I sent or what I spent. Cause my name in 18 wheelers is evidence. I put my booze in them cruise collections. Life's a bitch, A to Z on her shoe collection. Take your pick, paid in full like 86 G's on my body. The new Gucci has less monogram. God's got him. Let he without sin cast the first stone. So I built that all glass quad level first home. Shatter all of your misconceptions, hold all of the missing weapons. You thought I would miss my blessing, the ultimate misdirection. Yeah.
Your husband was a drug dealer. For 14 years, he sold crack cocaine.
So that became where I was a metal sculpturist for like a semester. I started to get into like glass making and then glass jewelry. And so after years and years and years of, well, not doing it constantly, because
Mm.
I would only be able to come back every summer. So it was like every summer it was like a Zenkai boost. It was like
Right.
I came back and I got better at it,
Right.
but I obviously didn't like sit down and let myself do it.
Mm.
I didn't sit down and like have the opportunity to just like make a profession out of this, or make some sort of like living out of it, or just
Yeah.
make a hobby out of it. It was just something that I came back to every year.
Mm.
And so this year round, I saw that there was an opportunity for me to take my glass jewelry to the next level,
Right.
because I came back to Glassworks this semester,
Mm.
and my mentor had essentially told me, like, you know, you've come here like year after year after year, and you've progressed a lot, and you've progressed so far that we can't really contain the stuff that you make anymore.
Mm.
It's not suitable for you, it's not suitable for us, because I'm not even paying to be there anymore. I'm
Mm.
just stopping by and making stuff, but they're obviously teaching kids,
Right.
and I can only come by whenever there's a free tort space.
Mm.
So I was like really just like down bad for like just trying to get in whenever I could, whenever I had the time.
No, definitely.
Yeah, so I was like spending all of my time just there.
Right.
Um and so he told me, you know, there's this professional spot, like an actual spot where you can like progress and learn, and they'll teach you stuff
Mm.
of like way further down magazine called Pollux. And so I went there for the first time after I had this artist show
Mm.
early August, and that really sat me. I was sad for that, man. I was, because I it was kind of stressful, because
Mm.
I had started this like last semester. Um, I had just I wasn't even just getting done like teaching a summer camp, but it was like three different things all in the same time frame. I had to make a whole new portfolio for myself,
Right.
because I didn't want to present any of my old work,
Mm.
because this is something that I wanted to present myself as a new thing. I wanted to be a new artist. I wanted
Right.
to show that this is all the stuff that I represent myself as.
Right.
Um, it was me paying back like my family for putting so much into me and like pouring this grand foundation into me.
Mm.
And so now this is like me representing that I am going to pay you guys back. I owe y'all. So
Right.
this is one of the many debts that I'm paying.
Mm.
Um, and so I was working with glass. I was trying to make a whole bunch of paintings. I was in like class and stuff. I was teaching kids at the same time. So it was like a gajillion different things happening all at once. And after it was all said and done, I went back to the glass studio, and they were like, you know, you still have time to make more stuff if you want to. So feel free. And so I just kept making more things, and I was realizing that it wasn't just the fact that I was making glass for specific pieces that I enjoyed, but it was also the fact that glass has a uncertainty about it. Like I think all
Mm.
art does, but it's certainly a thing where like when you I've seen this in a bunch of other artists TikTok accounts and
Mm.
websites and stuff. It's about the art first, and the stability, or the the wearability for like clothes and stuff,
Mm.
or the the fragileness second. It's about the art first and the safety second.
Right.
It's like the one from Nemo. Hey, what's up, dude? No, he's not.
Heaven knows how it gets, dealing with the cold and the wet. Fire flicker on in the wind. Dry your eyes while it's getting big. Heaven knows life getting tense. You try and lock me out, crying in that bitch. Gotta think about the size and the strength of the niggas you conspiring against.
And I think that was what I started to learn about the glass was I can only project my vision so far,
Mm-hmm.
and I can only see what what this medium is going to give me after I make it.
Yeah.
I can't always just
There's no set path
yeah.
to it.
There's no set path at it. Like
Right.
because like even with the jewelry that I made of my grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
this isn't because obviously I would have wanted it to look like them
Right.
entirely, and it does,
Mm-hmm.
which means I've gotten better at it. But it's never gonna look exactly how I want it to look, you know.
Right.
So it's stuff like that. That's
Right.
yeah.
It's that aspect of both human and just the
Mhm.
natural effect of glass sort
Mhm.
of coming together. It's
Mhm.
not entirely a you process, but it's
Yeah.
still has your imprint on
Yeah.
it.
It's like my style, but also like I can't be naturalist at it.
Right.
That's another thing. Like being trying to be perfect in art
Mm-hmm.
and trying to make everything look realistic to the real world. It doesn't. It takes away the fact that it is art
Right.
because you're just copying something that's from the real world. You're
Mm.
copying what you see, which is it's a very talented thing to do, and you can make a lot out of that.
Yeah.
But it's also you need to take your own spin on things, and you also need to have your own. We want to see how you see the world, you
Right.
know. So
Right.
that's how I think about it.
Yeah. I was having this conversation with Darren the other day,
Hmm.
and we were talking about how like the thing I liked most about art was the interpretation
Hmm.
that you can take on it. Whereas like I've never been very interested in photorealistic art just because I feel like I could do that with photography, which is still
Hmm.
dope. Like no
Yeah.
disputing that, but it's not where I see art going.
Yeah.
It's not the art that's been most interesting to me. Like even you look at Michelangelo, right?
Hmm.
That it's very realistic, but there's still a level of personal interpretation to it.
Hmm.
There's like something that they're trying to get out of it.
Right. It's because because obviously you know that me and Ken had gotten into this piano thing. There's another artist there. I can't think of his name right now, but he had approached me while I was painting,
Mm,
and he had said that it's nice to paint these pictures and you make it look as realistic as possible and try your best at it. And it was looking like I know that I can paint very well,
right.
but at the same time he was saying like everything that I do is from my mind. Like I try my hardest and my absolute best to use my imagination, and I do the same thing, but I guess when it comes to more professional opportunities,
Mm,
I try to do like a picture perfect thing,
yeah.
and I don't like let myself realize that the reason why I've gotten this far and the some of the pieces that I've had the most feedback from and like the most like just support and love for
Mm,
are the ones that came solely from my imagination. They
right.
came solely from my mind and like my thoughts and my ideas,
Mm,
and they weren't from any sort of picture or anything or any sort of reference really.
right.
So when he had told me that, it was sort of like a reaffirmation to me that I as an artist, I don't really need to worry about how perfect things look
Mm,
in my art world or how realistic they are because it isn't supposed to be realistic.
right.
I shouldn't be holding myself to any sort of like obviously holding myself to realistic standards whenever it comes to like making things,
Mm,
but I shouldn't be holding myself to these utmost serious standards when it comes to how they look. What they mean obviously
yeah.
can be very serious and can be very researched upon, but when it comes to things about like how I present my style and just the grandest spectrum of that, it doesn't need to be uh it doesn't have to be like a actual picture. It doesn't have to be how I look like or what you look
Mm,
like. It can be my interpretation of that. So
right. Yeah.
that's that's real.
Yeah. I think that's what it's all about. Really, is trying to get your point across more so
Mm-hmm.
than making sure that it's picture perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that to a certain extent, as long as you feel like you got your point across. It doesn't matter if other people understood it.
Mhm.
And that was a big thing to overcome, I think, for me at one point,
Yeah.
was trying to make sure that other people understood what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Because once they don't, it feels like it's an attack on you personally.
Yeah.
And I mean, art is a personal thing no matter what, but
Mhm.
trying to sort of compartmentalize that
Yeah.
is still,
Yeah. I think cuz this was another thing that I saw somewhere. I need to start like writing down these references and like
mm,
these places that like affect my my ideas that I bring up so much. But someone had said like another way of being like the best artist that you can be is also having a personal invitation to people,
mm,
like that gateway. I I that personal gateway where it invites people and your viewers and your supporters
mm,
into your life.
right.
Like that's one of the best ways that you can be an artist is how well you can portray your life.
Mm.
Like that's like it sounds really simple to say it, but
It's a hard thing to actually do
it's a hard thing to actually do.
because you're
Yeah.
not only selling art, you're selling yourself.
Yeah. In the words of, Lil Wayne, if this is too simple, then y'all just don't get the basics.
If ever you hear this, my words are for you.
I do want to get into like what you've been doing recently because
Recently,
for 19, you've done a lot of things. You met a lot of people already.
I hate to give myself my flowers, but
Nah,
it is
this
a
is
thing
what
that
this
you
is
have to
all
do.
about. You got to let people know who you are, so they got
Hmm. Yeah, because whenever somebody says like, "Oh, you've done a lot for how old you are," I'm like, I'm just trying my best. It's like
Hey,
you gotta you gotta realize,
like
not a lot of people at 19 have had these opportunities
right,
to do these things.
you met
So,
some people within that in different fields who other
mhm,
people have been waiting to meet their whole life,
mhm. So
and you did that before 18. So
yeah,
we should.
it's like these aren't even like things that I shouldn't give myself flowers for. These are just opportunities that I've just been blessed to have, really.
All right,
Um, as of what I've been doing lately, uh, obviously, the piano thing.
right. Sing for Hope, piano
Sing for
painting.
Hope pianos. Shout out to Sing for Hope.
Shout out, Sing for Hope.
Global.
I'll do it next year, hopefully.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it too, because those stickers that I
Oh,
still love those
oh, I
stickers. Like
appreciate that.
they're dope. I know it's like one of the only things I've seen so far of like everything that you've done, but I
Mm,
really did love that. I was like,
I
this is,
appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot.
yeah, it was just a really cool style.
You know.
There's a plane above us right now. Um,
Oh
but I think Sing for Hope can definitely be a good starting point as to how I feel about my art right now.
yeah. Okay.
Um, because I know that I've progressed in comparison to last year.
Mm.
In comparison to last year, I had, I think I was just coming out of Los Angeles. I was, yeah, I was. It was either the same time frame
Mm.
where I had gotten the chance to go do the Know Your Rights camp with Colin Kaepernick in
Right.
Los Angeles, and where I had met Colin Kaepernick. That was really cool,
Mm.
and I got him to wear one of my goggles.
Yeah.
That was interesting. Um, but I can definitely say that I have totally progressed in comparison to last year.
Mm.
Even though that I had gotten a lot of recognition for what I did, I was like, I don't feel like this is this doesn't feel like the bracket. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like the limit.
It feels more like the floor than the ceiling.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it does still feel that way whenever I'm approaching projects like this,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that you had submitted yours like really early.
Yeah.
Like Ken had told me, and I was like, damn, I need to get on my design.
It was one of those things where if I didn't submit it early, I was gonna submit it late.
Hmm.
So,
I
I,
submitted it so late.
hey,
Like I had submitted it because I remember I had opened the application and I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna get started on it.
right.
And I was trying my hardest because I was working on this short film,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I was also at the Glass Studio, and this is there's so many things that just teach me about other projects all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a thing that I'm doing right now, or that I'm proving to myself right now, is like you can't drop projects in favor of other projects, or you can't work on
Mm,
anything else when you said that you were going to be here.
right.
Because that was something that I did during Kwanzaa. It wasn't something that I did, but it was something that I was putting into practice, where
Mm-hmm.
I can't be at the Kwanzaa celebrations if I'm trying to make all of this stuff to sell on the fifth or fourth day of Kwanzaa it was.
Right.
So it was just like you can only have a trade off.
Mm-hmm.
Like you sometimes you have to say no to opportunities. And that's what I didn't do during that time frame. Was I told myself that I was able to do all this glass work,
Right.
and I was also able to make this design, and I was also able to make this short film
Mm-hmm.
all in the same time frame, which is like very unrealistic. And I had I had done this design, and something was telling me that I shouldn't do it. Like something was telling
Mm,
me that, I'm exhausting myself. I'm really tired.
right.
If it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be.
Stretching yourself too thin.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided, like, I've already gone through all this trouble,
Right.
and if I'm not gonna do it now, I'm gonna have to wait till next year
Mm,
to do it. So I sat down with myself and just stuck through with it, even though it was like a day past the deadline. I
mm-hmm.
think the only reason why it was still open was because the application was open. Thank God for that application still being open.
Yeah, I heard it got pushed back again.
It had gotten, yeah,
I think it was because of Ken.
yeah. Ken pushed it back,
Mm-hmm.
and I still wasn't. I still
Wait, you
wasn't.
didn't make the second one either?
No, I didn't
That's
make.
hilarious.
So the first deadline, Ken pushed it back. I was still all the way over here. Like
Oh,
I was
so
like a day or two past where it was like officially closed.
oh
And I
dang.
had texted Callie, and Callie was like, "I'm sorry, judging has started." And so I submitted it
Just
like
to
the
see.
night of that. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, if it happens, it happens.
Right.
And so Callie texts me that morning, was like, "Hey, you made it in." I was like, "That's what I'm talking about." And
Hey,
like miraculously, I got in somehow. I don't
right.
even know how. I guess it
Right.
was just
Sometimes things just come your way,
sometimes.
and you gotta take that.
Yeah, I was like, I, I mean, I went through all that trouble. I gotta
Right.
paint it now.
Hey.
Um, so this piano so far has really taught me a lot,
Mm-hmm.
because obviously the submission deadline was already teaching me enough.
Right.
This is a whole different beast, because it's not even teaching me a lot of things about how I operate properly when it comes to working.
Mm-hmm.
It's just teaching me a lot about how I should, I guess, carry myself whenever I make designs in the future. Because how can I say? I think I'm doing something that's very important
Mm-hmm.
and means a lot, and is going to do a lot for my artistry and how I represent my community.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that there might have been a smarter route of doing it, because I feel like I took the hard route, or like
Mm-hmm.
I made the design, because the digital design compared to the one that I have right now, they the in real life one looks a lot better than the digital one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing. I need to work on my digital style.
Yeah,
But
same.
um it's teaching me a lot about my process,
Mm.
because I was talking to Ken once. He was like, you are putting all the hardest stuff last, right? And I was like, yeah, I know. I realize that now. I
Mm-hmm.
was I was trying to color block everything. I was like, no, I need to I'm realizing that the reason why I stressed out so much about it was because I put the hardest stuff last,
Mm,
and that's just what you shouldn't do. Um, but uh, I think I'm trying to think like just what is the most pinpointable stuff about this piano. I went through a lot of just rough, not even rough nights, but just like really just wake up early, go to sleep late
mm,
type of schedules all of last week, where I was just like day in and day out
yeah,
trying to put in this work to get this thing done. And I think it's definitely it's this whole thing is a teachable moment,
right.
and I'm trying to keep myself focused on the fact that I'm learning
Mm,
so much from it, but it's also very tiresome
yeah.
because of balancing this and school, and also I'm trying to like start documenting myself now,
Mm,
so
yeah.
trying to get on that.
I do want to ask, um, what do you think? Because you were talking about this feels like this is helping you progress to how you want to be as an artist for your community.
Hmm.
What do you think? I guess the ideal version of yourself as an artist is,
Mm.
whether that be stylistically or thematically.
Hmm. First, I want to explain the design that I did.
Okay.
Um, I did it in the idea of anti gentrification and pointing out the tourism in New Orleans.
Mm,
Um, so it's structurally or visually painted as the Cafe du Monde with
okay.
like two murals on the side, and
Hmm.
there's a youth jazz band in the front.
Okay.
And the design was gonna have a lot more on it, but time wise, I had to
Right.
cut
Time
back on that.
constraints.
Yeah, but so the concept and the idea is anti-tourism, pointing out how post Katrina and even before Katrina, New Orleans was very it was very coined. It
Hmm.
was very coined upon. I described it in my not in my thesis in my essay that I wrote for the design. It was like if New Orleans is the beating heart of America, then it explains it such as so. If the entire city was built on the backs of enslaved African Americans, the culture is coined upon, and it is a party every single year where everybody around the world comes in and drinks to their heart's content
Hmm.
and leaves it trashed and riddled.
Yeah.
And that was my idea of how my design should be. It's a visually identifiable place for tourists to come to,
Hmm.
and they learn and recognize that this is actually something, this is a message that needs to be heard. And I had done a lot of essay research off of Nicholas Payton, who's a New Orleans musician.
Hmm.
Shout out to my musician friend Michael April April Aries for sending me this website, and
Mm.
we reviewed it together. He had like essentially all of the stuff that I was putting into my design, just like all of
Mm.
these ideas about, one thing about how like the second line tradition just feels like one big party now.
Yeah.
Like, every single day or every Sunday or every just week
Right. It
there's
feels less ritualistic.
yeah, it feels so much less ritualistic to the point where I had learned that, it was originally for funerals. Like, it
Yeah.
was like the first line was like, for families and friends, and the second line was for, the community. It was the
Right.
community mourning this funeral. It was the community mourning this community member.
Right.
And so now it's like I see people just like second lining on roofs or
Mm.
second lining on porches and like in the middle of the street. And it's just like everybody's just trying to get the best second line. Everybody's trying to
One
get
up each
yeah,
other.
everybody's trying to one up each other. And it's like
Yeah.
this isn't what it was about at all before.
Yeah. It reached a point where now people will come from out of town, have a wedding here,
Yeah.
rent, close down the whole
Yeah.
street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just don't make sense to me because I'm like I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm hating on the tradition, or I'm
Nah. Nah. Nah.
hating on Mardi Gras, or hating on second lines, or hating on on Sundays and just the traditions that we have to celebrate each other.
Mhm.
But it's like it's so unserious now,
Yeah,
and we're just seen as like one big party city.
yeah, I can completely understand. It's like a fear. It's a fear of your culture uh, being tokenized.
Yeah,
It's it's basically plastic.
yeah,
Like it's recyclable. It can easily be thrown away. People come into the city to basically release all their inhibitions,
mm-hmm,
and it's like how people, like most tourist countries, right?
mm-hmm,
Most tourist countries hate most of the locals hate tourists
yeah,
because it siphons from the actual community.
yeah,
And when you look at cities like New Orleans, Las Vegas,
yeah,
name a city, whatever,
yeah,
most of the people that actually live there are suffering because
mm-hmm,
all of the money's being focused in for tourists that
right.
come in and get to
Just
act however they
just
want,
act a fool.
right? And then leave a mess behind,
Yeah,
and we have to live in it.
yeah, and you can feel it. You can feel the
Hmm.
energy being taken away from the city. Because I was just talking to somebody in class just now. They were like, the parades don't feel the same anymore.
Doesn't.
The parades don't feel the same anymore. I don't even go to the parades anymore because I can
No.
just tell, like, it's not like everybody only goes there to get drunk and party,
Hmm.
and that's not even what it was for in the beginning of it. Well, it was for the party part of it, but we've gotten so invested into the party that it just invites everybody in the world to come over here and
Yeah.
and 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 mess our city over. But like you can tell that the spirit has been taken away from us. It's just visible. It's You can feel it in the energy. We don't even I don't want to say that we don't take the city seriously anymore, but it's gotten to a point where there needs to be a solution.
Mm.
And the solution that I saw in Nicholas Payton's essays and just in myself
Mm.
is that it's obviously the youth.
Right.
It's and the youth can be the prolonging of the problem, or we can be the solution to it.
Mm.
And the reason why I say that is because we grow up.
Right.
We grow up and we learn the culture, and we teach that culture. And whether that culture is partying and allowing our city to be this tourism, this center trap for tourism, or we teach the culture to be respected and passed down
Mm.
with in sobriety. And that's what essentially I was trying to portray through this design, is that
Mm.
I did entirely like youth. I did entirely like the mentorship of these different traditions of second
Mm.
lining and Black Mask Indians and BAM, Black American music, being taught and mentored down to the youth, and showing the youth as the solution as to this problem that's in our city.
Right.
And so I think I handled the design very well, and I'm doing it very well right now.
Hmm.
But I do think that it is a teachable moment for me to, I think, not make things easier. Well, making things easier would be a lot better.
Right.
I certainly wouldn't pass that opportunity up to make this design a lot easier. But I guess getting the point across um a lot more concise
Hmm.
and specific, but also like understandable,
Yeah.
to say this to a person that has never been in New Orleans and to somebody that is, you know, ignorant to tourism
Right.
and themselves being a tourist. How could I explain that to them?
Hmm.
So this piano feels like a mural in itself. And one of my mentors, Brandon B. Mike Odoms, I don't know why I just like full named him,
Yeah.
just government named him, but
Shout out B Mike.
my fault. Uh, but uh, he describes his mural work as advertisements. He's
Mm.
competing with billboards. Um, these large walls in the sky
Mm.
that grab your attention for like 5 seconds. How can you grab so much information from this within 5 to 10 seconds of glancing at it, whether you're
Mm.
walking by it or driving by it? How can you, even if you don't see that every day, how can you interpret what it means to you within the first like 10 seconds? So I think something I think I need to take a page out of his book
Mhm.
with seeing that as to how I need to approach this piano and any other art piece that I have in the future, which is like, how can I have so much understandable and comprehensible information passed down to this one person within a limited amount of time.
Right.
You know.
This is perfect, honestly. I
I'm
think.
glad. I'm glad.
No, this is perfect. But I guess for the last question, I wanted to like to ask future plans.
Hmm.
This is going to be a 1A, 1B.
Hmm.
What are future plans that you have artistically without getting into detail? Because we don't want any thieves.
Hmm.
And 1B would be more of advice. What some advice that you would give to someone trying to become an artist?
Okay. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try to answer this as best as I can.
Do you think
I'm gonna
whatever
say,
comes forth, it's
yeah.
perfect?
I'm gonna say for one, I don't think anybody can steal this because I don't know what I'm gonna do in the future.
Hey.
Uh, I can say for sure.
Mhm.
Now that I am trying to document myself,
Mm.
um, I can say that there's a worry that I don't want to cap myself. I don't want to limit
Mhm.
what I'm gonna be in the future because I know that me saying whatever I was gonna do 4 years ago wouldn't have been accurate at all as to what
Right.
I'm doing now. Um, but I mean, I'm gonna be documenting myself, making a YouTube channel
Mhm.
so that I can have these moments captured of what I do because I feel like a lot of the times that I do any sort of project,
Mhm.
I sort of just show up in these really cool situations and these galleries and meeting these people without any explanation as to why I've gotten here or
Right.
like any video documentation as to what was the
What was the
what was the
point A
point.
to point
Yeah,
B?
like where
Mhm.
was the middle point, like what even
Mhm.
happened in between here to here as to how we got here. um so I'm gonna be doing that.
Right.
um really just doing whatever I can or doing whatever I want to do. I feel like a lot of people in my circle and who I know, they have a specific goal and idea of what they want to do in the future.
Mhm.
And it does give me some worry because it makes me think like maybe I'm not dreaming big enough for myself.
Mhm.
Maybe I don't have enough ego or maybe I just don't have a dream.
Right.
But it's like no, I do these things every single day. I practice my art every single day and I hone my talents every single day.
Mhm.
So it's obvious that I have a dream. It's obvious that I have a goal in mind, but I guess to say that goal out loud and say that it's going to be the biggest part of my life and it's going to be this ending result as to how many years that I put all of this practice into,
Mhm.
I guess it's just not it's just too much to say.
Right.
It's just too many things that I'm going to do for myself for me to say that I'm going to do this specific thing because it's just not, one, it's not written in stone,
Mhm.
and two, I probably do too many different things for me to say that this is going to be the only thing that I'm doing.
Right.
Because I know like during the break I'm going to be working on a lot of glass jewelry, but right now I'm painting a piano. But in the future, I could be interning for a movie,
Mhm.
or later down the line I could be making my own movie. I know right now I'm a lead actor in a short film, so it's like there's so many different like,
Routes.
yeah, there's so many different routes and so many things that I'm doing all at one time where it's like I can't say for certain what I'm doing in the future.
Right.
I'm really just living in the moment,
Mhm.
which I think is good enough for me. Um, for advice to anybody listening to this that wants to be an artist or is already an artist and just
Mhm.
wants to, grab experience from other artists. Um, I know I'm super young and I've had a lot of great opportunities. So it's really easy for me to say like, oh, just keep at it, just keep going and just believe in yourself. But not everybody has the path that I was able to take, that I was blessed enough to have, and that I need to recognize that I am blessed to have this. So I need to take advantage of this.
Mm.
Um, if there's anything that I can tell to a person that doesn't have my life choices or my path exactly, what could I say? Um, I guess what I could say for someone that doesn't have the things that I've done and I don't have the things that they've done is truly just don't be afraid, you know?
Mm.
So many artists and so many people live their lives in fear of what they may not do or what they could do or how this thing could be messed up. And it's so easy to say these things to a person
Yeah.
and so easy to tell these people or tell me actually
Mm.
what to do, but you need to live this. You need to do it. You need to live these experiences. I know what I'm going to say now. Um so one thing is you need to not be afraid. You need to not be afraid of documenting yourself and recording your progress and talking about the things that you do and showing appreciation to the things that you do. And you need to not be afraid to do anything really. um, but uh, you need to not be afraid to just jump that wall, jump that fence, do that thing that you've been wanting to do for however long you've been wanting to do it for. Another thing with that is you need to do it. You need to actually put it into practice. You need to actually get in there and do it because I know with a lot of things that I've done for myself,
Mm.
when I actually did them, they weren't that great. They
Right.
didn't go out the way that I planned, and I was just lucky enough to have the mindset to say, at least I did it. At least
Mm.
I did it, and at the end of the day, I can say that it's done.
Right.
But it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, you know.
Mm.
Um, so you need to not be afraid of these challenges that you set for yourself, or else you'll never progress. You'll never. What's up, Nick? How you doing? Good. In the middle of an interview.
What's up?
uh, but you need to not be afraid of these things that you're trying to do, or else you'll never have the experience for it. You'll never get results. You'll never grow. You'll never be able to do these things if you don't do them.
Right.
So it's as simple as that. The entire system that we've been put in and that we've been made for, whether it's social media, whether it's art, whether it's connections, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Mm.
You you'll never find out who you are and what you're made of and what it is that you can do for yourself unless you do that. Unless you go through these routes and these paths and these trenches and these gutters to figure out what you're made of, you know?
Mm.
And obviously keeping a collective head, a calm, collected head about like what you're doing with yourself, because you also you need to be realistic with yourself and like have
Mm.
realistic standards. But doing it and not being afraid to do it is like 80% of like life. So
Right.
yeah, yeah, just
Yeah.
just don't be afraid.
No,
Yeah,
I think that was perfect. We gonna wrap this up. Let
sick.
you go get something to eat. To whoever's watching this, thank you for watching.
Like a
And
40-minute yapping session.
hey, 40 minutes of yapping ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll let y'all
All
go.
right. Yo, man.
Appreciate you. Yeah, appreciate you.
Problem. Let me know if you need anything else.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.